All right, it's mid-May and time for my second fertilization on all of my container trees. So we'll be putting on roughly about a half a cup of organic fertilizer a tree. I'll be using an Espoma product this time, but you know, I vary in terms of what types of fertilizer I use. A lot of times based on, of course, the quality ingredients, and then also, of course, the price, because fertilizer is awfully expensive, and if you're doing containers, you know, of course, fertilizing 3 times a year can get quite costly. So yeah, so I'm going to be doing some fertilizing. First off, I have some, they range from 18-inch to 20-inch deciduous trees that I'm growing. All of them are loaded with fruit, and I'll start off with those. I have this handy little cup that I use. It actually shows you a half a cup. It's pretty cool, really easy to use, and I like to put it right on top of the mulch that I have on here, because I'm gonna water it in. So it's really not gonna make much difference, you know, about putting it on top of the mulch, because once I get over on top of it and water it in, it'll be all good to go. This is also the trees that I'm experimenting with the different types of mulches in as well. So, you know, that'll be part of the program. All of them seem to be doing pretty well, you know, with these different mulches, and I haven't had to do any kind of adjustments relative to the growth of the trees. Trees are all exceptionally healthy, and all of them loaded with fruit. Yeah, of course, I got to get my wife's beautiful spruce tree here that she likes to use as a Christmas ornamental out in front, and I'm going to give it a full cup, because I know that it's going to use a lot extra. Being a container plant, it really doesn't know that it's not in the forest. So I'll try to give it a little bit extra food there. Now, coming into these larger citrus trees that I have here, these are all in 24s. I'm going to give them a little bit more than a half a cup, to be exact. I usually go almost a full cup, as a matter of fact. So, you know, here we go. And some of these trees are quite old, so they really do benefit from having a little bit extra food. And then remember, when you're fertilizing with organic fertilizer, you really can't over-fertilize trees. It's real difficult to do. I've done many tests through the years to try to see if I could, and sure enough, never ever had any bad negative results. Yep, and as you can see, I've got quite a few citrus in containers. I really love citrus in containers. They really absolutely adapt so well to being in containers. But you know, they also are heavy feeders. So that little bit of extra food and making sure that you're putting on 3 applications of fertilizer a season are critical in growing citrus. Then I got this beautiful sweet pomegranate, and I got the same, about a cup, full cup for these 24s. You know, most of these citrus and this pomegranate is probably over 10 years in the container. Most of the citrus you see runs anywhere from, let's say, 20 years in the container to the Oro Blanco grapefruit, which is now going on almost 45, 48 years. And I have this big Australian finger lime right here. This I find is a real heavy feeder. It really likes to have plenty of food. So that full cup is definitely warranted with this Australian finger lime. Then I have this collection of just random 5-gallon to 7-gallon plants. You know, these all get about a half a cup of each. And these are kind of varieties that I'm experimenting with, or actually growing with somebody in mind that I probably will give them to, you know, fun things like that. Now these 2 mandarins in these raised beds, these are literally in the ground, of course. So I'm going to go a solid 2 cups each on these. So that's 1 full cup right there, and then another full cup right there, and then I'll do the same on this one back here. Both of these are growing very nicely in these raised beds. I like that. Here we go, 2 mandarins, well fertilized. So there you go, we're done fertilizing all my container trees and a few of the trees in the ground. I like to use an acid fertilizer because, of course, our water here, our pH of our water runs very, very high, so I want to counter that with something lesser in pH. And the citrus stone has great acidifying material in it. And also, you know, you can just get a fertilizer that actually says acid-loving plants like Camelias, Azaleas, and Rhododendrons, and that's a great fertilizer. That'll be a great fertilizer to use as well. Check with your local nursery people to get good advice on what the quality products are. You always want to use a quality fertilizer. And definitely keep your plants healthy. Definitely containers depend on having, you know, an adequate amount of food year-round. They're like raising fish in a fish tank. They always depend on you for supplying them nutrients. Hey, go feed your plants.